Well, Diesel, the conversations sometimes aren't fun to have. The conversations aren't enjoyable to have. But if you are a general manager like you and I are in our heads, right, for a sports team, sometimes as a general manager, you have to have those uncomfortable type conversations, right? Whatever league you're a GM in, regardless of the team, you have to have those uncomfortable conversations. I don't like them. You don't like them.
Yeah.
But if it's okay with you and the Tolos, I want to have a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation to start this show today.
I, as a fan from 2.5 hours northeast of Atlanta, always believe that I could generally manage the team
me too.
better than the general manager can do it.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
That's why we're sports fans, right? That's why we love what we do. That's why the Tolos listen and turn it on and leave it on, because we're always the armchair quarterback, right? But Diesel, when it comes to the Atlanta Braves, I think that there's a fun conversation to be had. And obviously you and I will have this conversation many times between now and maybe 2028. If it drags into 2028, which would be 2 years. I don't know if it does, but let's have the conversation. Ronald Acuna Jr. Yep, that's the conversation right there. I know it's uncomfortable.
Oh, Ronnie boy.
Ronnie, one of the best, if not the best players in baseball, right? We've got to have this conversation. So you can be the GM, you can be a fan, however you want to position yourself, Tolos out there listening. Diesel, you and I have to have this. He is in, Ronald Acuna Jr. is in the final year of his contract. Mm-hmm. The Brinks truck is going to be backed up, whether it's Atlanta or another organization that backs it up. That Brinks truck is common. We know that. But the question that I ask, and I know this is tough, Braves fans, though, want to hear from you at 844-326-3663. Diesel, should the Braves allow someone else, and I know this hurts to say, but should the Braves allow someone else to back up the truck? Am I going to get shot out of my seat for asking that question?
Well, Braves fans will, because he's beloved. You can't let Ronnie go. Everybody loves Ronnie. He is going to make a tremendous amount of money going forward. The question is, can the Braves talk him down and get enough of the quote-unquote home team discount to make it not hurt too bad to hang on to him, right? I mean, by the time his contract comes due, he'll be 30 years old, which is not ancient, for a player of his caliber, but still, the decline does start to happen. You get into that position now, you're talking long-term end of contract or end of career kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And he wants to stick around for 5, 8, 10 more years. Mm-hmm. And you're still paying him a ton of money in 2038.
Yeah. And that's the question we ask because Ronald Acuna is in that conversation period now. These talks are already ongoing. And for those that don't know, Diesel out there listening, he's a Brave until 2028 because they have 2 team options, 2027, 2028. His contract, though, is officially up this year. 2026 is the last year on his 8-deal contract. So let me preface by saying this. I want Ronald Acuna to be a Brave his entire career. I think any Brave fan out there would say they want Acuna to stay a Brave, period, right? So as we get into this conversation, let's not act like I don't want him to be a Brave the rest of his career, Diesel, because I do. However, in the MLB, a fully healthy-ish, I'm going to use air quotes, season is 140 to 150 games, right? That is what a GM wants out of an everyday player. If you're an everyday player for me, Diesel, I want you available and playing 140 to 150 games. Here's where this gets not fun. Do you know how many times in his career Acuna has played that 140 to 150 range? Twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Spends a lot of time in the tub, you say.
Twice.
A lot of time sitting on the bench watching.
A lot of time hurt. right? And when you talk about wanting your everyday guy to go 140 to 150, and you're talking about the kind of money that you mentioned that he's going to demand and he should get and he's going to get from somebody, those 2 years he played 156 games and 159 games. 1 year, 2023, we know how amazing of a year he had. Won the MVP, National League MVP, well-deserved. Best player in baseball, still might be one of the best players when it comes to what he can do, what his potential is. Now, Michael Harris right now is the best center fielder. And I mean, that guy last night, my gosh, 4 for 4. I mean, a home run.
He goes golfing a lot, though. Have you noticed how? I mean, he does a good job putting enough wood on the ball to get it out of the park.
Yeah,
but he goes low a lot and hits a lot of really low home runs.
So all I'm getting at, Diesel, is that the Braves, I think, need to do something that you may consider crazy, and I think at least listen, okay? We've had this conversation, me and a couple of buddies have over the last couple of weeks. I want them in Atlanta, but let me ask you this. Are you okay? At least GM, Diesel, whatever your position is, I want you to, if I'm the owner and you're the GM, I just want you to at least listen to offers out there.
You got to take the phone calls, right? You got to take the phone calls. Like I said, he'll be 30 years old by the time this conversation is really happening and coming down to crunch time. He'll be 30. And in theory, how much time does he have left of elite level baseball? Maybe 5 more years. Maybe by 35, things really start to slow down. And you beg yourself the question, Ronnie, baby, we love you. You're making $17 million right now. We want to double that. We want to double that to, I'm horrible at math here, $34 million. We want to pay $34 million a year. That's a lot of money. That's not even close to what Juan Soto's making in New York. Juan Soto's making like $65 million a year. And we've seen how that hamstrings a team. The Mets got nobody besides Juan Soto. He's eating up all the contract.
See, different sports.
Right. So, I mean, if you can figure out a way to make him happy and show him the appreciation that, Braves fans don't want to see this turn into another Freddie Freeman scenario where somebody that you love goes off somewhere else and finishes off their career in style. You want to find a way to keep him for at least half of his potential time left in the league, make it worth his while, but also not stretch yourself so thin that by 10 years from now, you got no cash. And if I'm Alex Anthopoulos, I'm saying, hey, back the Brinks truck up to me. What have you got? What are you willing to give me for a guy like this? And the haul would be astronomical.
And when you say a lot of cash, the problem is he's projected, and this is a projection, he's projected to land a deal in the range of 10 to 12 years, which would basically give him the rest of his career at $350 to $500 million, somewhere in that range. If he has another MVP caliber season in the next 2 years, maybe it gets even crazier. He's not right now, but we know Diesel baseball contracts have exploded. You mentioned Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Shohei got $700 million, I think, and a lot of that's deferred, obviously. Aaron Judge got $360 entering age 31. Bobby Witt Jr., who's good player, really good player. Acuna's been a lot better at times. $288 million. Tatis got $340. So the problem is the money's gonna hit his account, whether it's from the Braves or whoever it is.
I think where the Braves really want to be, really want to be, they want to be in that 300 to 350 for 10 years range. If they can get him there, which, like I said, is almost doubling his pay. If they can get him there, you love to have him. You sign the deal tomorrow. You get him locked up and let him finish out his career.
Boston Scott on Facebook. Good to hear from you. He says, Tolo, I knew the Braves would use my Red Sox as a nice get-right game. Hey, the Red Sox, though, made it interesting right there at the end of the game, and that was a good game last night. So
Spencer Strider giving up back-to-back homers in the first.
Yep. He got off to a little bit of a bad start, but he settled in. He settled in, and he's 3-0. Now he got to earn the win. He earned the win, and he's 3-0 in the season. Boston Scott also says you can't mortgage the future to keep a fan favorite in town. You'll need to drop big money, and it'll have to be a long-term contract. When do these long-term contracts for almost 30-year-old players ever work out? And that's a good point. And again, Diesel, I want to be very clear. If somebody just tuned in, I'm not saying trade Acuna. I don't want to trade him. I don't ever want to see him wear a different jersey, ever. But if you are Alex Anthopoulos, you have to be cautious, right? And how you handle this. And you can't not explore it. And I think his value, Diesel, when you look at his value, it may never be higher again. So you're talking about a guy in his prime-ish, right? Prime, a former MVP, a global superstar, a face of the franchise. I go to foreign countries. I'm in Nicaragua, and people are talking about Ronald Acuna. He is a huge name globally. Maybe not the level of Shohei, but Ronald Acuna is huge globally, right? He has the power. He's still relatively young right now. You mentioned his age, what he will be. And then he has that controlled contract through 2028 with the team options on the last 2 years. So that combination, Diesel, when you look at it, it almost never hits the market. Usually teams figure out a way to get those deals done. But the Braves farm system, I think, is what you have to look at. You have to look at the farm system when you're evaluating this if you're Alex Anthopoulos, because if you do let a guy like this walk, guess what? You better have the farm system to reload, not replace Ronald Acuna, but be able to reload to where you're not seeing a significant drop-off.
If you trade him to whoever that may be, you better be getting an absolute stud. I'm talking top 5
put an S on that stud,
right
too.
Field prospect plus more, right?
Yeah.
You gotta get a lot for him. And that's what GMs get paid a ton of money to do, right? They get paid to figure this out. Everybody's career is going to come to an end at some point. Everybody's skills are going to drop off at some point. The goal is not to wait until you've squeezed every drop of juice out of the Ronald Acuna Jr. orange. It's to wait until there's a little bit left and somebody will give you a king's ransom to try to grab a hold of the last 3-4 years of his best playing baseball days.
And if I'm a GM, I am very intrigued to know what that king's ransom is. I want to know. I'm just thinking from a pitching standpoint. Imagine the pitching you could get for that guy. I mean, you could absolutely load up.
Put it in these terms. If you're the GM of the Golden State Warriors,
yeah,
and you know that this team is old now, you know this team is not going to go on a run anymore, and if you can trade Steph Curry. Now, I know that Steph probably has something in his contract that says I get to dictate where I go and what I do. Mm-hmm. But if you could trade Steph and get a ton of young players, send Steph off somewhere where he can play 3 or 4 more years and shoot 50% from 3, he's going to be great no matter where he goes. That's how you rebuild your franchise for the future. And in baseball, it's spread out a little bit more. We know this Braves roster is stacked top to bottom, but today's roster really isn't that relevant to the conversation. You got to look at your farm team. If you think, hey, we're maybe a little bit weak in the future, we need to get guys for 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road, you maybe think about making this move.
Well, I think, Diesel, one aspect of it as well, one aspect of the conversation is we've seen the Braves have already proven that they can survive without one superstar, right? And this is where I think it really gets uncomfortable because Braves fans, you mentioned him earlier, Freddie Freeman left. People thought the dynasty window, and including myself for a lot of years, even last year and the year before, I thought the dynasty window was closed. Dansby Swanson left, right? So you've seen stars leave. Instead, the Braves have gotten younger, have gotten a little bit cheaper. They won 100 games. They became deeper offensively. Look at what they're doing this year. They're the best team in baseball. And by the way, they won the 2021 World Series without Ronald Acuna Jr. when he was hurt.
I mean, look at the way this deal worked out with Matt Olson. I mean, people thought this was the end of the world, and you never find a first baseman to replace Freddie Freeman with his skills and with his power and all that. All of a sudden, you got Matt Olson, who's better than Freddie Freeman. There's no guarantee, obviously, that it ever works out in the same way.
Yeah,
but if you could try to pull that off again, that ought to make Braves fans breathe a little bit easier and think to themselves, maybe Alex Anthopoulos does know what he's doing.
Well, he does. And the hard part is, though, Diesel, it's an emotional attachment, right? Anthopoulos knows, and he's shown us that he values depth, right? He values flexibility and having that sustainability on the roster. They're not, the Braves aren't the Angels, right? Depending on one guy to come and save them. I think there are, though, and another point to this, when it comes to Acuna, I think there are long-term concerns. And this is like the risky part of the conversation, but it's fair, Diesel, because Acuna's game, think about it. His game is built on explosiveness, athleticism, speed, a lot of violent movement. He's that kind of explosive player, and he's already had major knee injuries. When players whose games rely heavily on that type of athleticism hit their late 20s, early 30s, you said it. He's going to be a different player in 6 years than he is today. So you have to risk and ask the question, will Ronald Acuna at 33 years old, will he still be worth $50 million a year? And that's the tough conversation, because that kind of money that we're talking about, I mean, that's insane if he ever hits open market value. So I think when you combine all of that and look at the financial decisions with other players as well, it begs the question, should you shop him around a little bit?
Scott on the stream brings this back to the Nomar Garciaparra trade in 2004 when Theo Epstein traded him away. Fans were upset about that, but like he said, it led them to a World Series. Bold moves yield great results, and you got to be willing to make those moves. You can't just let yourself keep getting older and older and older and older. Again, there's no guarantee that it works out in your positive, but if there's a team out there that will give you a tremendous, like, we'll pay over market value in prospects, in money, in trade, whatever, you really, really got to think about it.
You have to think about this as well. I mentioned other players, Diesel. You've got money committed to Austin Riley. You've got money committed to Matt Olson. You've got money committed to Spencer Strider, right? Who's looks like Spencer Strider of old right now.
How much more time does Sean Murphy have on his deal?
Several years.
Money there.
Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies, and eventually you're going to have pitching extensions, right? Bullpen, aging pieces. You've got to face the arbitration races at some point as well. So organizations like the Braves are going to have to choose where the mega money goes.
Just do what the Dodgers do. Cheat.
Just cheat and defer it, right? If you had that kind of capital, I think sign me up, right?
I
hate
in
it.
2050. They're gonna be putting a AAA team out there.
But the last point to this, if you are the Braves and you are Alex Anthopoulos, and I think this is where the conversation really gets heavy, this might be the last time you can actually maximize Acuna's value. Because if injuries keep piling up and his athleticism declines, Diesel, and if he has another knee injury, that knee for his position, that's his golden pot. I mean, if that happens, the conversation changes. Right now, today, 2026, Acuna still carries that franchise-altering trade value. That's why I think you have to listen. If it's 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, that trade value might look a lot different. And I think that's the biggest concern.
Now, Dewey on the stream, Cole, is talking that junk right now. He says Acura, I think he means Acuna, and Riley need to be traded at the deadline. They both suck. Wow. Acuna and Riley need to be traded at the deadline. They both suck. Austin Riley, he started slow. Yeah, he started slow, but he's picking it back up.
What does he have against Acura? I mean, I just want to know.
What if you traded Austin Riley and like a late model Acura? What is? I don't even know what the models of cars are nowadays.
Acura. Hold on, I do know it. What is the model of an Acura? Oh, that's bad.
I don't know. I'm
gonna know it as soon as you say it.
They got the Integra.
I've heard of the
TLX, the ADX, the RDX, the M. Good God, Acura, what are you doing with your naming?
Yeah.
What happened to having like cool names like Camaro, Mustang?
It's too,
RDX, MDX, SX. Too many acronyms. Stop.
Bottom line, I'll close with this. Acuna is sensational. He's a franchise type player. I said it at the beginning of the segment. I'll say it again. I do not, and I mean do not want to see this guy in another jersey. It'll hurt. It really will hurt. But I think as a smart GM, sometimes you have to make moves, Diesel, that don't have any ties to emotion. I heard a former boss of mine one time tell me that the best bosses and GMs make decisions without emotional investments being involved. Because, yes, somebody may have just lost their dog or lost a family member, whatever. but the best bosses have to put the emotion to the side. And if you can do that, I think you can be successful. We as fans, though, we're going to be very emotional about it.
Yeah, all the best bosses know if you're going to fire somebody, do it at Christmas.
Yeah.
Without emotion. Right.
Is that in the Odyssey handbook?
When we come back, let's talk about this, Cole. There is a brand new bipartisan bill that's going to fix everything when it comes to college football. And I actually believe it this time. It is out there. Ross Dellinger from Yahoo reported it. And Dan Wolken says, nah, this is full of red flags. Where are the red flags? Is it good? Will it pass? Let's talk about it next. Leave it up to the ACC, Cole, to make a big deal out of announcing kick time for like Stanford, Hawaii. Great. 7 o'clock, week 0, August 29th on the ACC network.
I love football. I love college football, but nothing gets me fired up.
Yeah. They sent out a press release making a big deal out of it when half of the press release has already been announced.
Yeah.
Like, we already knew that North Carolina TCU were going to be playing at noon on week 0. We already knew that NC State and Virginia are going to be playing football in Brazil. God, I hate this so much. We already knew that Colorado, Georgia Tech were playing at Miami,
Antarctica.
Stanford. So why make it a big deal? If you're that into it, Tolos, if you love sort of scheduling nitty gritty things, go check it out. The ACC has just released their weeks 0 through 4 full lineup of games, what networks they're going to air on, what times they're going to kick.
This time of year, maybe even through football season, I think we could do probably a weekly segment. I don't know about daily, but a inbox segment, because just in the past, let's see, 30 minutes, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different, press releases come through. One that we'll talk about tomorrow. I'm going to put it on the rundown for tomorrow's show. The SEC Diesel is introducing a mandatory sports gambling education.
Ooh.
This is interesting,
Ooh.
right? You know how, like, if you go do a event, whether it's skydiving or you have to sit in the class before you go out and have to watch the little video. Yeah. I think this is what this is now.
Well, I think it's a rapid, immediate response to the Brendan Sorsby situation with Texas Tech, and we'll get into that a little bit later. He was denied his reinstatement, and there were some statements put out by Texas Tech that are maybe a little troubling, maybe a little bit of a stretch, and we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. But here, Cole, I want to get into this. What's that classic saying? I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yes.
Well, a brand new bipartisan bill has been introduced by Senators Ted Cruz, Republican from Texas, and Senator Maria Cantwell, Democrat from Washington, that apparently will fix everything wrong with college football. And here's the thing, Cole, this is actually so good, it's never going to work.
So good.
So
good.
What
you're saying is this, what do they say? It's good enough when you get like a deal. Too good to be true. Too good to be true. Yeah, that's the language.
Help me out here, because Ross Dellinger of Yahoo.com reported on this earlier today, put out the whole kit and caboodle, everything that this new bill is supposed to do. Now, obviously, they've put it together. They've got to now take it through committees and yada, yada. We all saw School of Rock, and we know or Schoolhouse Rock, and how a bill becomes a law. But, our good friend Dan Wolken, a great college football reporter, retweeted it and said, this thing is filled with red flags galore. This must be defeated. So I want to know from you, Cole, and from the Tolos, what parts of this new bill stand out to you as red flags? Because I have a hard time finding them. I truly do.
So you're asking me to identify the red flags?
Yes, okay. We'll identify the red flag. I wish we had something in here that, other than like my shirt, it's red, you could just like throw it in the air and be like, red flag, red flag.
Underwear, no.
No. So basically, this bill gives us what a lot of fans want for college football when it comes to rules changes in the future. This is supposed to grant the NCAA its long-sought antitrust exemption relating to transfers, eligibility, a compensation cap. It would also kind of protect the NCAA in a lot of ways. So I'm going to get into some of the things that this bill does.
Can I use this as a red flag? How's this?
Sure. Yeah.
Is that red enough?
Red alert. Red alert.
Right?
Yeah. So here's what, in no particular order, okay, because there is a lot of information in this article. Again, this is a brand new bill proposed by Senators Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell, one Republican, one Democrat. This would create an agent registry and limit the amount of fees that an agent can take from an athlete to just 5%. So now, if I want to represent you, Cole, you're a star wide receiver, slot receiver, obviously.
Yeah,
with your
short,
height.
wide.
I want to represent you, and I want to make money off of you. I've got to go through an official registration process, and I'm not allowed to charge you like exorbitant 30, 35% fees for my services.
So what I'm paying you back is only 5%.
5%.
Yeah. So
5%.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's a good start.
That's pro player.
It's pro player, and it kind of goes into something we've talked about a lot with this new era. A lot of the people who are dealing with players don't have the player's best interest in mind. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of ties into this, right? Because if you're representing me, you might not have my best interest in mind, and you're taking how much?
Well, and every year there's a new crop of players who are just entering the sport as stars, mm-hmm. or highly touted recruits, or there's new guys that are moving their way up from a lower level to a higher level, and they're sort of being exposed to a whole new world of finances in and around college sports. I like it. I like that you can't have agents preying on student athletes anymore.
I do too. I like that. So no red flag there.
No red flag there. Number 2. This new bill would bar coaches from leaving their team before the season ends or from being hired by another school before the season ends, the so-called Lane Kiffin rule.
Oh,
that's what they're calling it, the Lane Kiffin rule.
Although that's a great name. I laugh at this rule because it almost feels like we're in a modern era where this is not going to happen. Like, you're telling me there's a way that we can prevent that from happening? Because sign me up. I mean, nobody's going to want coaches to leave early. I mean, I think everybody would be on board with this.
It's just going to push it, behind closed doors, right?
Can you read that, the language on that again?
Yeah. This provision of the bill would bar coaches from leaving their team before the season ends. It would also bar them from being hired before their season ends. So LSU would have had to wait. I don't know if that means when a team plays its final game. So it's like specific to the team that is hiring or losing,
season ends.
Or if it's a specific date when after the national championship game has been played. Like if
does it say their season, like THEIR?
It just says the season.
The season. The season.
Yeah.
Not their season.
Correct.
Because that's huge difference.
As far as we know.
Right? And that,
right.
I mean, that's huge.
And obviously that has tremendous consequences in and around the transfer portal. And,
I think that's, I know it's just one word, but I think that one word with that provision carries a lot of weight. But,
those two letters mean a lot.
Because, my season might end in December, and heck with y'all, I'm out of here. So
but
that's important.
This to me is a massive, what do they say, beige flag, green flag?
Green, yeah.
It's a green flag because it sort of stabilizes the sport until after the season is done, right? Stabilizes it so that big, massive changes cannot become the conversation.
I love it.
I love it.
I do too.
Another one, it would introduce a medical trust for lower resource athletic departments. So if you are an athletic department at Alabama State, Alcorn State, Georgia Southern, James Madison's got money. But if you're one of those smaller resource programs, you still have all the same medical expenses that the big programs have, that the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Michigans have, but you just don't have the money to be able to do what you need to do. So it creates a medical trust for those lower income athletic departments. Which I think is a great thing.
Yeah, it's only medical though. Is that how you?
This is the terminology used in the article.
Okay, yeah. It's interesting. You don't think fans don't think about a lot of that stuff though when it comes to the expenses that the smaller schools have. So again, good stuff.
I don't know if it feels like a workaround for employment and then getting medical benefits after you leave college. So it sort of creates a way for those schools to help. I don't know exactly how this medical trust can be used, but this is what the bill says.
Okay.
Another thing in this bill, it says it enables administrators to enforce transfer policies and would return to the one-time transfer. After that, you must miss a season of eligibility unless certain conditions are met, including your head coach leaving or the elimination of your sport at your school.
Okay.
So you get it's back to the old way. You get one free transfer anytime you want to use it. After the second, when you get to the second transfer, you have to sit out a year.
Yeah. And we've just kind of seen something similar hit the high school landscape with the one we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Remember the one-time transfer rule? So I'm all for limiting the jumping and the jumping and the jumping and the jumping. So one more time, the very first part of that. Can you read that again?
Enables administrators to enforce transfer policies and would return to the one-time free transfer.
Okay.
After that, you have to miss a season of eligibility.
And who wants to miss a season? So
nobody.
Right. So hopefully that deters a lot of the transferring.
If you are a star wide receiver and you want to transfer, it's your second transfer, you want to transfer to a school that's going to pay you a lot of money, you have to really decide, is it financially worthwhile for me to sit out a year to go be the starting wide receiver at Ohio State?
That's just crazy. That's crazy to me. And I know everybody's situation is different. It's crazy to me, though, Diesel, to think that some player out there, I'm not saying it won't happen because it will happen. Yeah. It's wild to think that somebody out there will think, you know what, maybe it's beneficial for me to go sit out for an entire year.
Here's how you work around that. If the school is willing to pay you a decent amount of money during that sit out year, you're more willing to do it.
Yeah, you are. I mean, who doesn't want to work for, not work for a good little income.
All you got to do is go to practice and show up to meetings and
again,
still get paid?
The one-time transfers where I really, and I'm disappointed that I hadn't been able to hit my button here as much as I would like to have, but I think when you talk about all of the things you've said, all the provisions thus far, and then you add in this one-time transfer rule, I think this, Diesel, is where I, as a college football fan, am sitting here thinking, okay, now this really does sound too good. I'm loving it. Everybody wants all of this to be implemented.
Well, here's where that one and this one together may cause you to hit that red flag button. Because it does establish the 5-year eligibility window. You get 5 years to complete your college eligibility. Don't care about sitting out. I mean,
you're saying the one-time transfer you have to have the 5 years because of the one-time transfer rule?
I'm saying that if you transfer a second time and have to sit out a year of eligibility, you're you're still playing in a 5-year window. So this is not like the old days where you could sit out a year and be in college for like 7 seasons.
Yeah, as long as it's 5, I'm fine with it. I don't want to, like, the 6 year, the COVID and all the, the 6, 7, 8 year stuff, like where college players 32 years old. That's the stuff that I don't like. So, 5 years. I went for 5 years. What's wrong with that?
What I like about this is this is not like the John Calipari. You got 5 years to play 4. Yeah. You have a 5-year window from when you graduate high school to play college sports.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
So
of course I would like in a perfect world 4, but no, that's fine with me. If it's not 6 or more, I'm good with it. I don't love it, but I can be okay with it.
Here's another thing you might like about it, Cole. Okay. It prevents both domestic and international professionals from competing in college sports based on whether or not they've earned compensation as a pro beyond prize money.
So that means
all these international players who played pro ball overseas cannot come to the United States and play college basketball.
We talked about that a lot this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Who was it? Was it Calipari that was big against that? We played a bunch of audio this year. I can't remember which coach, but probably all of them. But I remember there were several coaches who were adamantly against that happening. And then you had the whole situation in Alabama, right? So, yeah, you're telling me that if you play professional sports, you shouldn't have to. Yeah. You shouldn't be allowed to come back and play. Yeah, of course.
So it closes that loophole, which I love, and it bases on whether or not you earned compensation beyond prize money. So you play a tournament, you win, your team wins $100,000. That doesn't count. But if you've gotten paid to play basketball somewhere, you are not eligible to come back and play college basketball.
Love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Here's another one, Cole. It grants legal protection to the NCAA and the College Sports Commission to enforce standards prohibiting third-party NIL deals. This is something we're already seeing with colleges, that $21.5 million cap that the House versus NCAA set out. There's a lot of schools who are using corporate funding to divert around that $21.5 million cap to pay college players more outside of what they're legally allowed to pay them.
And you say legally allowed from rev share, right? Is that from rev share?
Mm-hmm.
So, look, my question with that is, are you ever going to be able to prevent that from happening? I'd like to think this does, But the loopholes. That's the question, though, Diesel. How many different loopholes are universities going to find?
Yeah.
Because I get it from a business standpoint. How can you route that money to another place, and still get around? You want to be competitive, whatever it takes to be competitive. So that one's going to be. I think that one will be tricky.
Yeah, I guess it sort of creates the old NCAA enforcement of you're not allowed to get any money, that enforcement wing, and says any money beyond the $21.5 million cap, the school is not allowed to set up those deals with third parties. It remains neutral on athlete employment, so they're not making a decision right now today about whether or not athletes will be employees, so that caveat could be determined later. I think that's a wise move.
I'm fine with tabling that discussion if all of these things that you just talked about were to come to fruition, right? Because if that bill, is that just all one big bill?
Yes.
If that one bill were to pass, I mean, hey, we're talking about drastic improvements.
It's everything we want.
I mean, a snap of a finger improvement. And I hope Nick Saban and I hope whoever it takes to get on board with it. It's Ted Cruz kind of leading the charge, right? Mm-hmm. Whoever it takes to get on board with it, I hope it does, because I think it'd be great for the health of the sport. Now, I know, unfortunately, we've talked about this a million times. People don't care about the health of the sport like we do as fans. The suits don't. But, man, you talk about people who do care, like the Nick Sabans of the world, Dabo Sweeney's of the world. I hope they get behind this. I would love to see this gain some momentum and traction.
Another fun thing that it does, Cole, is it provides a right of action for athletes to file legal claims if they don't think that the law is being adhered to. So athletes do have a recourse if they think they're not getting what they're supposed to be getting.
Yeah.
It preserves access to local communities by requiring that broadcasts of local teams not be put behind a paywall, so they can't black out. For example, Clemson couldn't black out Clemson games to locals here in Greenville. It has to be available over the air. Sort of like the NFL, how they put a lot of stuff available on the air. And here's the fun one, Cole. It reestablishes regional rivalries by requiring some schools to restart rivalry games if they compete in a conference without 3 or more of their top 10 most played opponents.
Wow.
So if you played an opponent a bunch of times over the years and you stopped playing them, the law may require you to start playing them again.
Wow, that one's interesting. That one's really interesting.
Yeah.
I say good luck with that last one. But, hey, if you could get the majority of those provisions in there, man, it'd be exceptional. Much needed for the sport. I'd be all in.
Oh, and it bans the Super League. It bans.
Oh, wow, that's big.
It bans conferences making over $1 billion, which would be big. The SEC and the Big Ten, from conglomerating.
That's really big. And I don't know how the SEC teams, that'd be a big part of it.
Yep.
Hey, let's pass it. I'm all for it. We'll see if it goes anywhere. Hopefully it does. Diesel, I hate to do this on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon because it has turned into a little bit nicer of a day than the way it started. But, I'm not going to put all Gamecock fans into one boat. I'm not going to take shots at every Gamecock fan because I have a lot of good friends who are Gamecock fans, and I like a lot of South Carolina coaches, right? A lot of players. I like them. But my gosh, I don't know a softer, more sensitive fan base than the South Carolina Gamecock fan base. One simple opinion that I posted on Twitter yesterday during the show. Oh, don't do that. Not with Gamecock fans following you. They'll get mad. We'll go into it next. Diesel, I hate to be this guy today because, again, like I said, I have a lot of friends who are diehard Gamecock fans, and I am not going to put all of Gamecock fans into a bucket like some people do. But my gosh, Diesel, you have to be so Charmin sensitive because these Gamecock fans can be Charmin soft when it comes to their feelings, right? And what you say might upset them. So you have to be careful. What am I talking about? Yesterday, you and I had Andrew Rydell on the show talking college baseball. Great guest, very knowledgeable, right? At 522, I think. I asked him, if you remember, about James Ramsey, the Georgia Tech coach, if it was a pipe dream for the Gamecocks to wish they could get a guy like James Ramsey. I tweeted out, before I asked that question of Andrew, I tweeted out a tweet. I quoted a tweet from Gamecock Central where they were making the case for James Ramsey to be the next coach. I just said, plain and simple, it's a pipe dream for the Gamecocks, in my opinion. Oh, boy. That upset a lot of Gamecock fans, as you can imagine. I, though, Diesel, do believe sometimes you have to just be, I don't want to say neutral, because you, as a Gamecock fan, you can pull for the Gamecocks, you can root for them, you can wish for the best. But sometimes these Gamecock fans, they get so butthurt and they get so stuck in their sensitivity. The replies, well, who asked you your opinion? Nobody asked what your opinion was, you dip bleep. Nobody wanted my opinion when I gave it. I thought that's what you did on Twitter, and as radio show host, I'll give your opinion. But James Ramsey being out of the Gamecocks league is like a girlfriend or a potential girlfriend for the Gamecock fans that they know they have no business landing as a date, but they so badly want that tall, blonde, 6'2" swimsuit model, but they're not going to get her.
Yeah, there's that old saying from The Rock, know your role and shut your mouth. Gamecock fans, right now, when it comes to who your next head coach might be, you need to know your role and shut your mouth, because this program is so far down. There's no way you're going to pull a sitting head coach from an ACC power that is as good as Georgia Tech is. There ain't no way. You don't have the money. You don't have the money to pay what it would take to get him out of Atlanta.
And he's been there for several years and as assistant. He helped build it, right? And then he comes in and not even being there a year, not even a long period of time, he's already got Georgia Tech, Diesel, as not just a contender, but maybe the best team in the country. So let's go through some of these replies from Gamecock fans on Twitter yesterday. Nobody, Dr. Chase, what a great name. There's nothing better than these names, that you have. What is this, Dr. Chase? Nobody asked your opinion, though. Dr. Chase said literally, nobody said, interesting. Wonder what Cole's opinion would be on this situation. I got called a tater, which means Clemson fan. Let's see. One texter or one guy on Twitter says, you would be dreaming about a pipe, wouldn't you? Gay. That's what one Gamecock fan on Twitter said, right? Ray said, well, who asked you? TK, whose name is Tyler SC. Cole, F, you can pretend what word I'm using there, you, and then a word that starts with a P that you can't say on the air. I don't think you can. You can pretty much guess the sentence that I'm talking about. These Gamecock fans, though, Diesel, they are so sensitive. They know that he's way out of their league, and I think you said it. They still think that job is what it used to be a decade and a half ago, and it is not anywhere close. And if it offends you that I say that's a pipe dream, you have such bigger issues, Gamecock fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's social media, right? You get the worst of the worst. You get the absolute idiots that have. I mean, that's what message boards and Facebook groups and all this stuff. That's what allows you to do. It allows you to climb into this nice, cozy, warm little bubble where everybody thinks the way you do and everybody has the highest possible opinion of your program, even though it just totaled the highest number of losses for the program ever, beating the record from last year. And this program is down in the dumps.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's not to say that you can't get a quality head coach.
Right.
I just don't think you're going to there's no world in which you pull that guy away. You can get a really good coach to step in here and take over for Monty Lee and Paul Maneri, but you're not getting the sitting head coach from Georgia Tech.
You won 13 conference games over the last 2 seasons, and you believe you can go get James Ramsey. And you said it, Diesel. I agree with you. That doesn't mean you can't go get a good coach. Kevin Schnall, who I think will be the next coach, it's a great hire. It's a great hire. But James Ramsey, like Georgia Tech, that would be a grand slam type hire. No disrespect to Kevin Schnall, but what he's doing, what Ramsey's doing at Georgia Tech's really, really impressive for him being the head coach in the short amount of time he has. And Gamecock fans out there, you've got to quit being so sensitive. Even Coop and Greer on the Joy Law Firm text line says Carolina fans are like the defensive little brother. If you burst their bubble, they cry. It is just, it's a terrible look, Gamecock fans.
Carolina fans, you were that program at one point, and you fumbled the football. You dropped the pop fly right there in your glove. You could have continued it, but you screwed the pooch, and now you're here. And you got to start back up from the bottom. And if the bottom means hiring Kevin Schnall, you're not nearly as close to the bottom as you think you are.
Oh, it's great. It'd be a great hire.
When we come back, let's talk college baseball, Cole, and let's bring it local right here to the state of South Carolina. Russell Triplet, the head baseball coach at the Citadel, going to join us for about 10 minutes. And then on the other side of that, Cole, SEC coaches feel like they were lied to about expanding to a 9-conference game schedule. We'll get into that as well after Coach Triplet next. Going to be joined here momentarily by the head baseball coach of the Citadel Bulldogs, Russell Trplet. Going to be just a couple of minutes away from having him on. A little note for you. Our Hub City Spartanburgers, unfortunately, have now fallen behind a series against the Greensboro Grasshoppers. 0-2 in the series. Last night was a big-time offensive explosion. Earlier today, the pitchers really got out ahead of things and kind of shut each other's teams down, but the Spartanburgers now falling a little bit behind as we get into sort of the middle part of the season.
They're struggling a little bit, by the way.
They are struggling. In the next segment, by the way, back-to-back guests here for head baseball coaches in the state of South Carolina. Kane Sweeney, the head baseball coach of USC Upstate, going to join us here in about 25 minutes or so. Your Daily Wire's coming up at 4:45, and coming up at 5 o'clock, a big question raised by a guest we had on a couple of weeks ago, Lauren Beasley. Would Gamecock fans make a trade? 3 women's national championships for 1 football national championship. I thought I knew the answer, and then it wouldn't really be a whole lot of consternation.
Did you see how many impressions her tweet had?
I haven't.
1 million.
Whoa. Good for
1
you.
1 million.
Good for you, LB.
And I know you had her on when I was out a couple of weeks ago, right? That is, again, coming up at 5. That's going to be a lot of fun. That is a wild question.
Yeah.
But I was surprised at how many Gamecock fans were unified with that question.
Saying yes, they would.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm not. I mean, as amazing as Dawn Staley's program has been, we know what straw stirs the drink around here. We know what people love.
How disrespectful, though, to Don. I mean,
it is. Oh, it's incredibly disrespectful.
How hard it is to win 3 national championships and play in 5?
The truth is, the vast majority of South Carolina fans, they look at women's basketball national championships and all the success that they've had as, a quality little footnote off to the side. Oh, that's great. We won another national championship. Oh, good stuff. When's football season start?
It is wild. It's going to be that'll be a fun segment coming up at 5 o'clock.
Let's get into college baseball, and one of the 3 head baseball coaches here in the state of South Carolina who are taking their team to the postseason. We are joined right now by Russell Trplet, the head baseball coach for the Citadel. Coach, this is our first time ever talking to you. I don't know if you're a high energy, high strung kind of guy, or if you're more low key and chill, but how, since the announcement of where you're going to be continuing your season, how much more amped are you today than you were before that announcement?
I think way more amped, I guess, because you get to keep playing this time of year. Usually, most coaches go through a little lull right whenever the season finishes, and it's just like you don't know what to do, and you just got to kind of regroup. So to be playing at this time of year is awesome. It's awesome for our program. I'm so happy for these guys here, and we're excited about the opportunity.
Coach, it's Cole here. Appreciate you taking time to hop on with us. When you as a head coach, I mean, you've been around the game. Obviously, you played at Clemson. You've been around the area. When you look at postseasons, you would love every year if your team could get hot right before the postseason and you make a postseason run like you have this year. Unfortunately, though, Coach, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Was there a point toward the end of the season this year with this team at the Citadel where you and your staff recognized, oh boy, maybe we are hitting our stride, and your players were performing in a way that made you feel like you guys could go on a run like you did?
Yeah, I don't think you don't really feel that right in that moment, but looking back on it, I think you pick out a couple of different things. We played a tough schedule. We had some tough days early on in the spring where these guys battled and played as hard as they possibly could, and we got left on the field at Florida State. We got left on the field at Georgia. We lost a heartbreaker to Coastal. So you're going through against these high-quality teams, and you get left on the field and losing tough games. So it's going to pay off as a coach, but from 18 to 22, it's tough to kind of see that. You just kind of beat down, and then we had a tough weekend, had an unbelievable win on Friday night at ETSU, had a tough weekend, and then got kind of embarrassed on Sunday. And from that point forward, I think the guys, it wasn't like it made a different commitment, but it was a different level of, okay, all right, we've been through a tough time. We got to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. We're prepared. Let's be ready to play. And from that point forward, I thought we competed. I think we've won 17 out of our last 20. And yeah, as a coach, you want to script it. If you could script it anyway, it'd be play your best in May. And if you got any struggles, go through it early, and then it shows up later. But sometimes you don't get to that point if you guys aren't tough enough to handle the adversity that goes on throughout the course of the season. And I got to give our guys credit. They're as tough as a team as I've been around, and handled some serious adversity earlier in the year, and kept going and kept showing up, and I'm proud of them.
Coach, your team likes to get out and score early in games, scoring in the first inning in your last 6 games and 8 out of your last 9. How critical is it early inning scoring to the mindset of this team going into your regional?
Well, I think it benefits the style we want to play too. We want to pitch and play defense every day, and then offensively, we want to try to put pressure on you every single inning. And a lot of the things we do loses the pressure, or doesn't create as many issues on the other side if you're playing from way behind and you can't do some of the stuff, the running game, and you can't run into outs. And it just kind of handcuffs you a little bit as far as what you want to do offensively. We're trying to score 1 run in the first. And we've had a lot of guys that are really unselfish and commit to doing that, and it may not be best for them, but it's best for the group, and it's paid off here of late.
We're talking to Russell Trplet, the head baseball coach at the Citadel, as they are en route right now getting ready for their regional this weekend. Coach, can you just talk about that performance when you bring up pitching? My goodness, what a performance in the championship game from your guy and Will Holmes, how dominant he was. I believe it was 7 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts. Correct me if I'm wrong there, though. The maturation of him since you got to the Citadel and what a guy like him can provide come postseason.
Yeah, I mean, he's experienced, he's mature, he's prepared, he goes about things like a pro. He was as good of a pitcher as I saw last year through his first 5 starts, and then he had a tough injury to the back of his arm, not the Tommy John. It was something in the back of his elbow. He got it taken care of, and he was dominant. First 5 starts of last year. I want to say 25 innings, like 11, 12 hits. Just incredible. And he got hurt, and right before we started conference league play. And so that was tough. And he worked to get back to this point, and he's been the guy we've gone to start the weekend all year long. He's a leader on our pitching staff. He threw the opener and then threw the championship. And it's hard not to give him the ball when he really wants it. But he'll kind of dictate the rotation this weekend because he's on short rest, and he threw twice in the conference tournament. So we'll try to give him as many days as we can, but I'm not planning on getting on this bus to drive back to Charleston without him throwing.
Talking to the Citadel head baseball coach Russell Trplet here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Coach, I drove through downtown Greenville Saturday about 3 hours before first pitch, and I saw a ton of Citadel fans walking around, starting to pile into that stadium. Talk about just the fan support that you've gotten from the Bulldogs fans in the championship series in Greenville, and what you might expect coming out of the Atlanta series as that stadium is going to be accessible for your fans as well.
Yeah, the Citadel fan base is incredible. It's built by mostly alumni that are passionate, as passionate as anybody I've been around about their school. It creates energy. They're invested in it. They all went through the same things. Up in Greenville, as the week went on, now we got stuck in the 9 o'clock game all the way through, which may have benefited us, and our guys get up early all year. But to play in the 7 o'clock game, championship game, it was an electric environment, and our fans were there early. They were loud. It played a big role in the game, in my opinion. It may be one of the best environments I've been around and been a part of. And just an unbelievable experience for our guys to do that. They put in so much. And it's for a mid-major, you don't, any great environment you're in, you're usually all against you, and when you're talking 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people and the whole place was for our guys. And the Citadel fan base, they showed up, and they've supported us since we got here last 2 summers ago, and they've been on board with everything we want to do here, and they want to help in any way. And it's what makes that place special is that they do care so much, and they're truly invested.
Well, Coach, just about 48 hours from right now, you guys will be going against Oklahoma, as you also will be watching to see what happens between Georgia Tech and UIC earlier in the day. What have you learned about Oklahoma in the last couple of days? I'm sure you have been scouting more now that you haven't been playing quite as much.
Yeah, you get a chance to kind of regroup and you want to self-evaluate first and figure out, based on, and we do this all year long at the end of every week, what did we do well? What are we going to improve on? What are things that we didn't do that need to show up every day? And so you get a chance to kind of reflect. You tend to evaluate more when you get beat and you're riding home and the season's over. You think about every little thing, and we didn't really get a chance to do that. We got a chance to celebrate and be excited, but our offense was tremendous, and guys stepped up all the way through. You're looking at another team now, and you want to be prepared for all three teams in the regional, but you certainly want to be the most prepared for the first game you got, and that's Oklahoma. And looking at them, they've got some really power arms that run it up there velocity-wise, and mid to upper 90s. And then honestly, on the offensive side, they're very similar to us. Maybe don't use the bunt game as much as we do, but they like to run. One of the best base stealing teams in the country. That's a big part of what they want to do. So that won't be different for us. To me, I think the key of the game is who can control the running game the best and who can give their team the best opportunity to put them in those situations offensively. Because both teams want to run, want to put pressure on you on the bases, and you got to defend it. And if it creates issues for you, we feel like we got an advantage when it comes to the running game. So, you're trying to look at them. You don't really know exactly who the starters are, but at the same time, you want to make sure our guys focus on the things that got us to this point and not worry too much about what the other team does. I mean, we need to be prepared and have an idea of what we need to be ready for, but at the same time, we need to be the best version of us and continue to play good baseball. That's what's got us to this point.
Coach, how would you say that the military aspect of what your players have to go through on a daily basis, how does that sort of stave off the intimidation factor of playing teams with a whole lot of prestige and a whole lot of money and a whole lot of guys that are going to go off to Major League Baseball?
Well, it's the saying that's used around the school is the road less traveled, and it's not supposed to be easy. And I don't think a few people in the stands yelling at our guys is going to rattle them too much as far as what they go through on a daily basis. And I think the core side of things helps us in ways that maybe these guys can't see as they go through it. And I know any coach in the country would want to reap the benefits of what that side of it does for these guys and the discipline and the accountability. And it's not for everyone, but the ones that they can handle it and can do it, they get paid back big time. And I, as a coach, you get to see those qualities in the way a school builds and develops leaders, and we get to reap the benefits of that later in the year and as these guys get older and in moments like this. And I don't think the moment will be too big. We challenged our guys with a lot of tough environments early this year and made a point to do that and knew it was going to be tough. And to play at Florida State on a weekend for 3 games is a great environment. To play at Kentucky, to play at South Carolina, play at Coastal, to play at Georgia, to play at these places with good environments that are against you when you walk in there, it tends to limit the distractions as you go through it. But, nobody on this bus has experienced the regional as far as a player, and so it'll all be new, and it'll be how we handle the moment, and can we get into playing the game. But, I told our guys that the group in other dugouts going to feel very similar to them too, and they're excited. They're going to be a little nervous too, and the team that can settle in and play their style and be the best version of them will have the best chance to win the game or the tournament. But there's some good teams in there, and Georgia Tech is as good as anybody. And then we opened up with UIC last year, so we had a chance to see them. I respect their program. The coaches are great human beings. So familiar with them, but at the end of the day, we got to worry about the guys on this bus and make sure we're prepared.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the run you guys have already went on, but also we're pulling for you to continue that success. Best of luck this weekend, Coach, and we appreciate your time today.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me.
That's Russell Trplet, the head baseball coach at the Citadel. Fantastic stuff there. Appreciate his time. And he said it, that regional, you look at Georgia Tech, obviously the class of the country, but they don't have to play Georgia Tech Friday. They play Oklahoma.
Yeah. And
we imagine Georgia Tech's going to take care of business. And if you take care of business, who knows? Who knows? That's why you go play. And what a fun story it would be if the Citadel could continue what they've already started on. And as hot as they've been, I'm telling you this, if you're Georgia Tech and Citadel goes out there and beats Oklahoma, you're looking at them like, crap, how do we get stuck with the Citadel? They've won 11 of their last 12.
Yeah.
And it could be interesting.
Hey, like I was saying, this team gets out and scores early in ball games, and that changes the complexity of games. If they face Oklahoma and they can put a 2-spot or a 3-spot on them early, man, that puts a lot of pressure on the Sooners in the late innings of that game. So I like their chances if they can do what they've done, which is score runs early. We'll see if they can keep getting it done, because how huge would it be to see another school from the state of South Carolina, another small program, which we're going to talk to the head coach of the USC Upstate Spartans next. Yep. Two teams from the state of South Carolina have a chance to come from small mid-major programs, conferences, with a chance to repeat what Coastal did 10 years ago.
And I wonder, the other team that you didn't mention there was Coastal Carolina. I just wonder, and I kind of hate it in the same breath, like their players that are playing on that team. Think about this, and this is what I don't like about it. It's inevitable. You can't fix it. There's no fix. But Diesel, those players that play at Coastal Carolina, right? They were recruited there by Kevin Schnall. They probably love the guy, or else they wouldn't be there. They're a good baseball team. They've struggled a little bit down the stretch, but think about how they feel right now. Going to their regional, knowing that there's a good chance their coach isn't going to be there. It's just a big distraction. And Coastal can still go on a run, but man, you talk about just hearing, they hear all that stuff just like we do. So it's a big part of it, and I hate it for them.
Hey, if the bill gets passed, if that bipartisan bill gets passed, they can't do this. You can't hire somebody until the season is over.
Come on,
everything.
Ted. Come on. We need you. We really do. Good stuff. All right, let's continue the conversation. You mentioned Kane Sweeney. Kane Sweeney's, he's taking his team to a regional as well, right here in Spartanburg, where you can listen to this Fan Upstate on 97.1 FM. Kane Sweeney, the head baseball coach at USC Upstate. Man, what a season they've had in the Big South. We'll talk USC Upstate Spartans baseball with Coach Sweeney next. Well, it's time to talk a little USC Upstate Spartans baseball on this Wednesday, on this hump day edition of Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. So good to be with you this afternoon as it is tournament time for USC Upstate and Kane Sweeney, the Big South Championship in the books. Coach, I know you guys now turn your attention towards the postseason with the regionals coming up this weekend, but just talk about how you have to regroup after a conference championship that is vital, that's very important, but also how you retain that momentum and hope that translates into the postseason as you guys are getting ready this weekend. Coach, how are you?
Oh, great, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we had a really interesting tournament, man. It was a lot of rain and kind of moving everything around, moving sites and moving game times and things like that. But obviously we handled that type of adversity well, and that was something that I felt like we were prepared for throughout the week. Is just knowing that things could change on a dime, and we had to be flexible enough and ready to play whenever. Seems like it might be the same way down here in Tuscaloosa this week, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, we're playing with a lot of momentum right now. 14-2 in the month of May, so really like the way we've been playing, and it's been a good month of May to us. So hopefully we continue that this weekend.
Coach Sweeney, it's Diesel here. Appreciate you taking the time. 2 seasons at USC Upstate, 2 Big South championships. That means 2 trips to postseason baseball. And I don't have to tell you that a Big South team has won a national championship in the last decade. How do you parlay that fact and that sense of belief into your team and letting them know that it has been done out of the Big South before?
Yeah, it's funny. We actually talked about it the other day. I talked about it with somebody else the other day too, about Murray State's run last year. They almost got knocked out of their tournament in one of their first few games in their conference tournament, and then they got hot at the right time and made their run and obviously go play in Omaha last year. I do believe it's something that we're capable of doing. We have enough talent on our roster to make a run like that. We're deep enough on the mound to make a run like that. And we have guys that have already been in the postseason and had this experience. So our guys are playing with a lot of passion, a lot of fire, and a lot of excitement. And that's obviously what you want for your guys, is to go out there and compete to win every day. And we're fortunate to have a group that expects to win every time they take the field, regardless of who we're playing. So our big thing is just trying to make sure that we're playing our best baseball. I don't necessarily worry about the opponent in the other dugout. If we take care of what we need to take.
Coach, you guys going to the Tuscaloosa Regional, as you mentioned, Alabama, Oklahoma State, USC Upstate, and Alabama State. I want to know, though, curiosity, you mentioned that it could be the same this weekend. Are you referring to weather, logistics? What were you talking about there?
Yeah, the weather doesn't look great. Long range. It's looking like we're going to have a bunch more rain down here this weekend. So we'll just have to roll with the punches, and we'll play when they tell us to play.
Now, a follow-up to that. I mean, obviously the weather's a big part of it. Knowing what you've been coaching baseball a long time. You just said it. You guys went through some weather stuff this weekend. Did you notice anything or learn anything this past weekend, or just pick up on anything that you might have pocketed for this weekend if you are in delays and your guys are having to sit around for a long time? You put your starting pitcher out there, and then the possibility of him having to come off the field. Is there anything that you kind of think about just a little bit extra when it comes to what you might not want to do in a regional with the weather being like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you don't want to burn starters and things like that if you have anticipated rain coming in and all those things. But at the end of the day, you got to get the tournament in. You got to play the games, and that was something that we had talked about last week. I mean, we were looking at the forecast at the start of the week, and it didn't look good for the conference tournament. It was, so we're sitting here talking, and I talked about it with our guys. I'm not really sure how this came up in my brain, but I talked about having the ability to disconnect and reconnect when we needed to. And if they told us that it was time to play, we were going to show up ready to play. And for whatever reason, our guys have kind of bought into that idea. And so we get back on the bus after a win, and our guys were like, all right, we're disconnected, and they were kind of making fun of me, which is fine. I don't care. But, it was just a thing that I talked about doing, and I felt like our guys have bought into that. And we may have to do the same thing this weekend. So hopefully we'll just disconnect and reconnect when we need to, and get reconnected and ready to play whenever they tell us it's time.
Coach, what can you tell us about your team's ability to win in multiple ways? I mean, sometimes you're winning by hitting long ball. Sometimes you're playing small ball. Sometimes it's scoring early. Sometimes it's coming from behind late. So can you give me some examples and what you've learned about your team through the course of this season that tells you that no matter what scenario they get put in, they're going to thrive?
Tell you what, we've won and lost games in every possible way this year. If I'm being honest with you, I mean, we had a stretch in April where it felt like it didn't really matter how well we played. We were going to find a way to lose, and then this whole stretch of May, it doesn't really matter how we started. It's how we finish the game, and we find a way to win. So the biggest part this month is that our offense has really come around, and our pitching staff has really come around. I mean, everybody's clicking on all cylinders at the right time, and that's ultimately what you want out of your season. I wish it had happened a month earlier, because I know going into April, I think we were sitting here with about a 50 RPI, and I was feeling really good about our chances of being in that large. And then, we had our 9-game skid, and then, we weren't really sure what was going to happen after that. But, we found our footing, and guys started playing with a lot more confidence and a lot more freedom. And all of a sudden we kind of took off once May hit. So, it's a little bit of everything, man. We've had some really good pitching performances. We've had some really good offensive days, and we've had some really good defensive days throughout the year. So hopefully we can put it all together for a good week of baseball here and come away with the regional championship.
We're talking to Coach Kane Sweeney, the head baseball coach at USC Upstate from right here in Spartanburg. Coach, you guys on the way to Tuscaloosa. What do you know about this Oklahoma State baseball team? They've won 37 games this year.
Yeah, it's a really good program. I know that. I mean, they've obviously had a ton of great players in their history. They've been really good for a long time now. A lot of respect for them and their ability to continue winning and have continued success. They're very, very offensive. I mean, they hit a lot of home runs. I think they're second in the country in homers right now. And I don't want to overlook their pitching staff as well. I mean, they have a couple really talented arms in the front end. The Lund kid, which I don't know who we're seeing yet, but the Lund kid, who's a left-handed pitcher. He seems like a handful. I think their starters seem like a handful. It seems like they have good command of multiple pitches and get a lot of swing and miss. So it'll definitely be interesting facing them. I know they're a very, very dangerous offense. So we'll have to make sure that we're hitting our spots and rotating and competing to the best of our ability to get outs. That's kind of what I've seen from them so far.
Coach, are you focusing 100% of your scouting efforts on Oklahoma State as of now, or how much time are you able to dedicate to who you may have to play on Saturday?
Yeah, it's good games. I got to.
I'm sorry, Coach. I think we might have lost it. I think we lost you there. Could you repeat that again?
Yeah. I was going to say, I have a great coaching staff that does a lot of the scouting report work with me. So we got our 3 guys in here that are putting scouting reports together and trying to cover the whole entire tournament. And we want to have as much information about every team as possible, being prepared to play whoever. And then once we find out who we're playing that day, I think we'll do a little bit of a deep dive the night before and try to really hone in on it and know who we're facing, know what their lineup's like, all those different types of things. But for right now, the main focus is Oklahoma State.
A couple of players that you look at, Coach. Obviously, you've got a different group every year, a different group of seniors every year, and your roster construction is different every year. But a couple of guys that you look at on this year's roster that have been big for you already, but you also think to yourself and maybe have even discussed with them that, hey, guys, if we're going to make some noise in this regional, we're going to have to lean on you this week. And obviously everybody's important, but a couple of horses that you feel like you guys are going to have to ride this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Henry Zener's been playing phenomenal baseball for this entire month. He's hitting 420 in the month of May.
Wow.
So he's a guy that we're definitely going to be leaning on to kind of be the catalyst at the top of our lineup. 8 of our 9 everyday guys in our lineup are hitting over 300 this month. So any one of those guys, if they're stepping up and playing the way they're capable of, we're a really dangerous offense. And then if you look at the mound, I mean, Brent Stukes has got a 2.95 in the month of May. Chris Torres has a 3.8 in the month of May. And our bullpen has been absolutely outstanding this month as well. So there's a lot of pieces there. I don't think there's like one guy that's an X factor. I think anybody on our roster right now, you feel like if they got the opportunity to take the ball or step up to the plate, they can make a big play when it matters. And that's what I like about this team. It's not just one guy carrying the load. It's the whole group that's contributing in multiple areas. And that's what makes us so dangerous as a 3 seed.
Coach, does it give you a little extra pride to consider the fact that it's the mid-majors who are carrying the water for baseball in the state of South Carolina, the Tigers and the Gamecocks? They're sitting at home. It's you, it's Coastal, and it's Citadel going to postseason play.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, it's something that we're, that's what I want for this program. I want to be established as one of the best major programs in the country, and obviously we know we're competing with the teams like Coastal, like Citadel. Clemson and Carolina obviously didn't have the years that they expected to have or wanted to have, but two programs that will bounce back that I expect to be really good in the future. So yeah, it is pretty cool that the state of South Carolina is being represented by 3 mid-majors, and hopefully we can represent well this week.
Coach, what does it mean? What's the impact for a school like USC Upstate to not only make one appearance last year, but to consistently, you just used that word a minute ago, consistently find themselves on the biggest stage now 2 years in a row? What's that do for the program? Things that a lot of people out there may not realize.
Yeah, well, one, it definitely helps in recruiting. Anytime you're playing postseason baseball, your reach is getting all the way across the country. Which, if you look at our roster, I think we're like 11% in-state kids. Everybody else is from out of state, and that's the way we've recruited since I've been here. So our reach has kind of become this national thing, and I want to try to make this a national brand where everybody that hears USC Upstate knows that we're a really good baseball program, a really good baseball school, and a school that's dedicated to making baseball a priority. And that's kind of my goal. Obviously, for us as a program, it's to play in a regional every year, send guys on to professional baseball, and give them the platform to get seen and have the opportunity to play professional baseball. That's kind of my goal for all these guys. I think that's what makes us so attractive to a lot of players, is that we do give them the platform. We're in the Southeast. We play a really, really challenging schedule. You can see the schedule that we played this year. We didn't shy away from anybody. And I think that's the exciting thing for guys that want to come play baseball here, but it's also something that I'm proud of, that we've kind of built this program to the point where we can now compete with some of the big boys that we do go play, and we put ourselves in position to be prepared for regional play when we get there. So hopefully this becomes a constant, and hopefully this is something that we can continue to build on for the next handful of years and grow this thing as big as we possibly can.
Coach, how have you seen things look differently this year than it did last year? As you said, that you got to this point last year, you're able to achieve it again. Are you seeing more support from the institution? Are you seeing more support from students and from alumni and former baseball players? How is this thing growing from your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. The amount of text and calls that I get after even at the end of our regular season, the run that we were on in May, all the way through the Big South tournament. I think we got done on the field on Sunday after getting the championship trophy and all that and celebrating, I got back to the bus and I checked my phone. I think I had 125 missed text messages. And, I think that shows the type of support that we have, that our program has, that I have. So I think we're really blessed to have a really good support system. Our administration is bought into baseball. I think they want us to be kind of the front porch to the university, which is a pretty cool place to be as a coach. I think that's what you want. And I am really proud of what we've been able to accomplish. I'm proud that our administration recognizes our accomplishments and wants us to be great. Hopefully we can just continue to push forward.
Well, Coach, not just you guys, but softball too, right?
Yeah, softball too. Softball's been incredible. I think they've gone to the NCAA tournament 3 straight years. So baseball, softball, that's a big deal at USC Upstate. And definitely something I'm proud of. I know Coach Hawkins is proud of his softball team as well. And both of us were in very similar situations at about the midway point of this year. I mean, we were both kind of struggling and not off to the starts that we had anticipated. And both of us still found a way to get it done when it mattered the most.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time as always. Best of luck this weekend, and hopefully we'll talk to you again real soon.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Luck,
Kane Sweeney, head baseball coach at USC Upstate. By the way, Diesel, they are a little earlier on Friday than the Citadel. I was just 2 o'clock start, 2 o'clock first pitch for USC Upstate on Friday. Oklahoma State, a 37-win team. Again, that'll be on ESPN Plus. USC Upstate, Oklahoma State, and then you also have Georgia Tech, like we talked about, Alabama. I was confusing the regionals there. Alabama is the 1 seed, and Alabama State is the 4 seed.
Yeah.
But big for USC Upstate, though, to be able to be that 3 seed And look, Oklahoma State's still a really good team. They can still rake, but to avoid Alabama out of the gate, I think that gives you a little bit of optimism.
I think one thing probably both of these coaches are telling their teams is a guy throwing, 95 is throwing 95 is throwing 95. There's no difference between a 95 mile an hour fastball from team to team to team or from school to school to school. So you're going to see a lot of the same pitches. You're going to see a lot of the same power and the same velocity. The depth is what's the difference, right? The difference is, a lot of these schools, if you're talking about USC Upstate and Citadel, they got starters that can throw gas. But you get into later innings, you start to fall off of that velocity maybe a little bit. But with the Oklahoma States, the Alabamas, the power programs, they have the guys that can go through the entire lineup. So I think the mental test, especially late in these innings and not seeing sort of the velocity drop off, the movement drop off a little bit from starters to closers, is going to be the challenge for them. They got to stay sharp and they got to stay focused for 9 whole innings.
One pitch at a time, pulling for USC Upstate, also pulling for the Citadel. We are efforting. I've been in talks for like 2 days now with Coastal Carolina. We're trying to get Kevin Schnall tomorrow. Obviously, he's a popular guy right now. He was on Phil Kornblut's show, Sports Talk SC, last night. Phil asked him about the South Carolina job. And look, he said, hey, I hadn't been contacted. My agent has, but I'm focused on this team. But the fact that his agent has been contacted, no surprise there, Diesel. But the Phil Kornblut had that. A lot of quotes, audio you can find. Phil does a great job. I love his show. He had Monty Lee on just a couple of days ago. Last week, actually, an hour after Monty was fired, Phil Kornblut had him on. And had Kevin Schnall on last night. So good stuff, and we'll see. Hopefully these postseason runs can continue to last a little bit, dude.
How much fun would it be, or how nice would it be to know that you have somebody over your shoulder negotiating new jobs, big-time paydays, and you don't even have to think about it?
It's nice.
You have final approval. Like, yeah, I'll go there. No, I'm not interested in going there. That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, it's nice. Must be really nice, right?
You have one of those guys, right? Somebody working for you?
Back here somewhere.
Yeah.
Behind me somewhere. But good luck to Kevin Schnall. Good luck to Russell Triplet and Kane Sweeney as well. Let's go get some wins, man. Let's represent South Carolina and the Palmetto State.
There is a lot to get to in the sports world, Cole, a lot that we haven't covered yet on the show. So let's hit them all. Rapid fire, our daily wires coming up next. Get to our Daily Wires. Want to welcome Tolo Josh Babb, who's watching on Facebook. He says, I'll go ahead and say it. James Rainey isn't leaving Georgia Tech for South Carolina. These South Carolina fans can dream on.
Yeah. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. Trying to say it yesterday, but they get on their feelings.
Cole, let's hit all the sports headlines in one go. Our Daily Wires. The buzz around the sports world. The OKC Thunder took a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference Finals last night with a 127-114 win over the Spurs. Game 6, Thursday night in San Antonio. Wemby wasn't really a big factor.
Last week when you were out, I picked the Thunder in 6. I really went back on that a couple of days ago when I saw San Antonio, how good they can be against the Thunder. Now they have a chance to close it out in 6, but there's something that tells me that Wemby's still going to – you're right. He wasn't great last night, but something tells me he's going to be great next time, so we'll see.
He might have been distracted by the two ladies directly behind the Spurs bench rocking low-cut shirts. Have you seen what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know why they would be distracted about that, though. I mean, what was distracted?
Oh, my.
Basketball game,
Outkick, yeah, Outkick had this, Cole. They were two ladies that were there for game number 4, which was back in San Antonio. And they captured the nation's attention, let's put it that way. And they vowed that they will be back for game 6.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good on us, I guess.
Keep an eye out for that. The Atlanta Braves are back in the win column after a 7-6 thriller in Boston last night. Michael Harris, 4 for 4, 3 RBIs and a home run for Michael Harris.
That dude's like playing at an MVP caliber level this year. Best outfielder in baseball. Call him Wendy's. Call him Wendy's right now. 4 for 4. You kidding me? What a big night that was.
They're back in action tonight at 6:45 against the Red Sox. Bryce Elder is on the mound for Atlanta. Boston is 8-18 this season at home. You'd love to see a sweep.
You do.
You got to get game 2 before you can get game 3.
Let's win this series.
Brewers manager Pat Murphy said relief pitcher Abner Uribe's dance moves after striking out St. Louis's Alec Burleson in the 8th inning were, quote, unacceptable. If you didn't see it, he struck him out to end the inning. Uribe pounded his chest, and then he performed the Degeneration X crotch chop
3 times.
3 times, facing the Cardinals dugout. Murphy, Pat Murphy, the manager of the Brewers, said, quote, I don't know what came over him. I mean, he's always been an emotional guy, but that kind of thing, that's just not how we do things.
But you know what that goes back to? That goes back to the conversation you and I had about a month ago when I led the show with it, and it went viral, stupid, phone calls. When you and I said, hey, the kid who pranced around the bases and dunked 9 times and did 16 dance moves and TikTok moves, there's no place for it in baseball. Manager last night says, hey, no place for that. But nobody ridiculed him, right?
I say, if you want to do that, go play banana ball. I mean, they're selling out 100,000 seat stadiums. Go play banana ball if you want to do that kind of stuff. After being hit on the hand by a pitch last night, Shohei Ohtani is still expected to pitch tonight against the Rockies. Dave Roberts said the ball really mostly just kind of hit him on the pad on his hand, but did clip his pinky finger. He's going to put him out there on the mound. Probably not going to hit tonight for the Dodgers.
That's okay. You know what? I think he needs to really be careful with that. I think it'd take a year off, maybe see if you just don't want to risk anything, you know? I mean, I'd hate for you to get hurt even worse.
Didn't he get hit on the hand like a week ago, 2 weeks ago again?
I feel like I do remember that. Yeah, I feel like I do.
Travis Kelce is adding a new title to his business portfolio, a Major League Baseball owner. The tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs is joining the Cleveland Guardians ownership group as a minority investor. He's purchased a stake in the team that he watched growing up.
How about that? How about that? Look, you're seeing more and more of that, aren't you? With these athletes getting involved with other leagues out there.
You know, with golf, as you spend time in the PGA, you gain an ownership stake or essentially stock in the PGA Tour. I'm surprised, Cole, that you haven't seen teams start to put stock options for the team or ownership percentages of the team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In guys' compensation. Staying in the NFL, the lawsuit between former Dolphins head coach Brian Flores against the NFL over discrimination charges will proceed towards trial. The Supreme Court rebuffed an appeal from the NFL, which wanted the case handled through arbitration. Instead, she going to court.
Not good.
Not good. Sheena Quick reported that the Carolina Panthers offensive coordinator, Brad Idzik, says that they're really excited about the competition between rookie Monroe Freeling and Rasheed Walker at left tackle. He also said that Ike Ekwonu is really attacking rehab, and he's still a heartbeat of the O-line in the locker room.
Well, you should be excited about that guy. You picked him in the first round. I mean, of course. You better be. If you're not, I'm disappointed about the Panther fan.
That just tells me that Monroe Freeling is looking good.
Yeah, hopefully so.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights closed out their series last night over the number one team in the West, sweeping the Colorado Avalanche with a 2-1 win last night. They'll face the winner of Carolina and Montreal. Game 4 of that series is tonight at 8 o'clock in Montreal. You can watch it on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. Carolina leads the series 2-1. Game 5 Friday night in Raleigh.
Now they're the ones doing a little sitting, right? You said the series was over?
Series is over. And Colorado was really good this season. I think they were a 50-plus win team, and they got swept by Las Vegas.
Knights will have to, sit maybe a week? Could be a week?
Yeah.
Depending on how long this series goes with the Hurricanes.
Could be a problem. We'll see.
Hopefully so.
Reporting on SEC spring meetings, Brett McMurphy tweeted that SEC coaches say that they were misled about a 9-game league schedule and that they were told the playoff would expand to 16 teams if they agreed to go to a 9-game conference slate.
Wow. Misled.
Yeah,
surely not.
Lied to.
Surely not. Wow.
More from the SEC spring meetings. The SEC SoCon Showdown weekend and late in the season will eventually be a thing of the past, Cole. Starting next year, no longer will SEC teams be playing cupcakes ahead of their rivalry games.
Okay, I like that.
Yep,
I like
fan
that.
Of that. Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby was denied in his bid to be reinstated as eligible for the 2026 season. Texas Tech president Lawrence Chovanec stated in a letter to the NCAA that he feels like gambling is part of mental health issues and that it's a clinically recognized behavioral disorder and it's not his fault, that he should get some help and that he should be allowed to play. We'll talk about this more.
Of course he does.
At 5:20. And the last one for you here, Cole, Don Raya Jr. is out as president of the PGA of America. He came under fire for his delayed response to the unruly fans at the Ryder Cup last year. You know, a lot of fans were shouting insults at European golfers. Raya compared the expletive-laden comments towards Rory as what you would hear at a youth soccer game, and it cost him his job.
What do you hear at a youth soccer game? Can you go into that?
If there's that many 4-letter words at a youth soccer game, then clearly there's problems in soccer. We need to shut the whole sport down.
Yeah. Also, one more. How about this today? Clemson has a new president. The former Michigan State president, Diesel, is heading to Tiger Town. How about that? Kevin Guskowitz. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Guskowitz from Michigan State was announced this morning as the new president at the University Clemson University.
President Gus.
Yeah,
I like it. President Gus.
Gus train. Diesel, let's talk. Gus Bus. Oh, coming to Clemson. I like that. I don't know if the Clemson fans will, though. Let's talk Gamecocks in the next segment. Lauren Beasley, you had her on the show, good friend of the show a couple of weeks ago. She put out a tweet over the weekend that went viral. 1 million plus interactions and views on Twitter. Gamecock fans, I need your participation. In the very next segment, it was all over Twitter. I mean, everybody you can imagine was retweeting this tweet. The Clay Travises of the world, Fox Sports, everybody was weighing in, and you are going to be asked to weigh in right here on the Fan Upstate next. Well, I hate it for Dawn Staley. This is a super unfair conversation to have. But this was not a conversation that you and I came up with. I think you and I have talked about this in previous years when it comes to the sports that Gamecock fans care about, Diesel.
Yeah.
But this was where it gets fun. Lauren Beasley, who you had on the show while I was out of the country just a couple of weeks ago, who has done some stuff with USA Today, College Sports Wire. She's a sports journalist and does a good job. She put out a tweet over the weekend that got 1 million views on Twitter. And here's what it said. For those that don't know, that haven't seen it, especially Gamecock fans, here you go. The tweet reads, so here's the question. Would most South Carolina fans trade women's basketball national championships? Trade 3 women's basketball national championships for 1 football national title? It's a good question, and again, a little unfair to Dawn Staley because, boy, winning a championship's hard.
Yeah.
But here's where we are. And, Diesel, you would imagine that most Gamecock fans out there leaned which direction with their answer?
Oh, they appreciate what Dawn Staley has done. They enjoy the fact that they get to come to campus and see a winning team a couple of times a week with women's basketball. I'm sure they sided with the bird in the hand, not the 2 in the bush. Am I wrong? Am I wrong about
You're
that?
not wrong. You're not wrong. They, and I would hope you're right, most appreciate what Dawn Staley's done. You should. Having a national championship program, it doesn't matter what sport it is, it's awesome. You get to brag about it. You get to talk about it. You get to use it in every single part of the university.
What did Dan call the equestrian team yesterday?
Horse women's
horse jumping. Finish the word.
It was something to do with.
You can't stop that word halfway.
Yeah. I apologize.
Yeah.
I forget exactly. It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. Dan, if you're watching on the stream, remind us because it had me cracking up.
So, Gamecock fans in the Upstate, if you're listening on 97.1 FM Spartanburg, 97.7 FM Greenville, 101.5 FM Anderson, or on the Odyssey app or the iHeartRadio app, or you're watching the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, we want to hear from you. 844-326-3663. Phone lines are open. Joy Law Firm text line open as well. Would you trade the 3 women's basketball national championships for 1 football national title? Diesel, I think where I go first when this question is asked, I go to, okay, are you asking me as a fan? Are you asking the AD? Are you asking the president of the university? Who are you asking? I think that's important, right? Or does it not matter who you ask?
You got to look at it from your perspective. You're a person who covers South Carolina, but you cover South Carolina dispassionately. We all want to see South Carolina do well. You and I both do. Mm-hmm. Even though people
don't believe that, though.
Even though you're a Clemson fan, I grew up a Clemson fan as well. We're both fans of Clemson.
Here we go, a bunch of homers.
But still, we want South Carolina to do well. We want Coastal to do well. We want Citadel to do well. We want Furman to do well. We want all these programs winning across the entire state because it makes our jobs easier and more fun.
It's more fun when you win. It is.
I'm telling you, man, that drive to Columbia and then that drive home back to Greenville or Spartanburg after a game is so much better when the team wins.
Yeah, and phone calls are like sometimes they're better. You know, when Clemson was bad last year, it was pretty fun.
Winning is a cure-all, right? Winning makes everything better. It makes the phone calls positive. When the phone calls are negative, it's just the same thing over and over again. It's just a bunch of Deweys calling in saying so-and-so should be fired. And that gets boring and dull after a while. But when you're winning, you get to talk about how fun it is to win.
Adam on the Joy Law Firm text line says horse prancing. I think it was women's horse prancing, right?
Women's horse prance.
Cocky Jake 87 getting in already on the Joy Law Firm text line at 844-326-3663. He says, we would definitely trade for a football natty. And again, the reason I asked this, I know you said it. We know that most Gamecock fans are on the same sheet of music here, but I just want to know, are there any, like Cocky for a reason loves women's basketball at Carolina. Are there any Gamecock fans out there that think differently? That they say, no. I wouldn't trade one football for 3. Now, obviously, if your investment in women's basketball is tied to a family member or something like that,
Sure.
play in, your opinion's different, right? But
how does the general Gamecock fan value? How do you really value women's basketball? I mean, like
I don't think they do a lot.
Like we know you value football as a 10 out of 10, especially if you're finding success, right? If you're having 9, 10, 11 win seasons, potentially going to the playoff, potentially in this conversation winning a title. I think truthfully, even as great and sustainable as Dawn Staley's program has been, your average Gamecock fan probably values women's basketball like a 4 out of 10.
Well, here's the difference.
At best.
And the reason for that is, and we're going to get to Tom in Somerville in just a second, Gamecock fans, Diesel, didn't grow up as a Gamecock fan loving South Carolina because of women's basketball.
True.
Right? They grew up loving it for different reasons. Baseball for some, football for some.
Makes sense.
You know, now if you go to UConn and you ask them, their opinion is going to be a lot different than South Carolina, because guess what? A lot of people who are UConn fans grew up on women's
it takes a decade or a generation to capture the hearts and minds, and
especially the young fans.
We are a basketball school.
Especially the young fans, you know?
Yeah.
All right, the text line blowing up. The phone line's ringing as well. Again, 844-326-3663. The question is, Gamecock fans, would you trade the 3 national championships in women's basketball for 1 in football? Lauren Beasley is the one that brought this up. Tom will bat lead off with you. Your answer to that would be?
Guys, I'd trade
I'd
trade winning, just any win in general for women's basketball for eternity if it meant 1 football national championship.
Tom, would you trade a winless season in every sport for an entire academic calendar for a national championship in football?
Yes, I would.
I know the answer to that.
Basketball, if that meant for 1 calendar year, if that meant a national championship in football, sign me up.
That's just disrespectful, though, a little bit, Tom. And to Dawn Staley and what she's built.
Well, I mean,
bet you wouldn't say it to her face.
But I would too. A national championship in football would bring money to the university that's never been seen before as far as revenue goes. You know, it brings publicity to the university. You know, a national championship in football would change the lives of so many people in this state.
Yeah, but Tom, that is, especially now, that is fleeting, right? You've seen how fast programs can go from great to falling off in football because of the portal, because of NIL and all these things. That sustainability in women's basketball, that gets you all over ESPN for hours and hours and hours leading up through the playoffs. The conversation around Dawn Staley being the coach that could make the jump from coaching women to coaching men, coaching an Olympic team. Like, there's a tremendous amount of publicity from winning 3 national titles. I think that is more than what you get from winning 1 in football.
Well, I can also make the argument that if you win 1 in football, it would allow you to win more in women's basketball down the road. But that's a topic for another day. I would take a national championship in football if it meant winless in every sport for a calendar year. Heck, the basketball team was almost winless. They weren't winless, but they weren't good. The basketball team had the worst year in school history.
So you pretty much did.
We're already pretty much there. All we're missing is the national championship in football.
Good point. Excuse us, Tom. What do we know? You're right.
And the reason I was calling today, I was ticked off. And I'm sure y'all talked about it, but the first they released the first 3 football kickoff times of the year. Okay, now they gave us Towson at 7:00. You know, okay, that whatever. But the first game of the year, when it is going to be 150 million degrees, they gave us a 12:45 game the first weekend in September. Now, I understand it's a lesser opponent. I get it. But I don't even care if you put the game on Nickelodeon.com Plus. You cannot put that game at 12 o'clock or 12:45 the first Saturday in September. It is a liability to all the people that are going to go to that game for it to be at 12. It's going to be 150 million degrees. I mean, I got in my truck today, and it's only May. I got in my truck today to get lunch, and it read 96 on the thermostat. I mean, what are we doing, people? And of course, the first SEC home game of the year is at 4:45. It's going to be even hotter against Mississippi State than it's going to be against Kent State.
So you want to play Kent State at 8 o'clock on Saturday in prime time?
Yes, you can put it on it. You can put it on at 6 a.m. It'd be better than 12:45. I mean, my goodness. I mean, there's going to be more people on gurneys going to the hospital from heat exhaustion than there's going to be in the stands.
Hey,
in the
Tom,
fourth quarter.
what brand of blood pressure medication are you on?
I don't know.
Don't know the
Doctor just tells me what to take, and I take.
Tom, we'll pray for you between now and then, but the bottom line is you'll still be there, right?
Yes, I'll be there.
It's just going to be hot.
All right.
I know you only get 12 guaranteed games a year. You got to take advantage of it.
Did you
Even
sign
if
up?
It's 150 million degrees.
Did you sign up for that 10-year commitment to get one of those suites, Tom?
Why? Here's my dilemma on that. Right.
Here we go. Thanks, Diesel.
I don't even know what we spend, but we get tickets. We sit in the stadium. We watch the game. Right. Why would I want to go sit in a suite when you got all those Karens walking around telling you to keep your mouth shut? You gotta watch your behavior. I want to sit in my seat and I want to say what I want to say in my piece. And if you got a problem with it, you don't have to go to the game.
To be a fly on the wall. To be a fly. Hey, Tom, I by the way, I went to the Burns-Somerville softball state championship Monday night. Where were you at?
Monday, I was actually up in the mountains.
Okay. They're playing in Somerville tonight. Our Lady Rebels are. So hopefully they can get it done. But Somerville's a good softball program now.
Hey, maybe that's who South Carolina's next AD needs to be, is a Somerville AD. Because they're playing for a championship in every single sport. Every high school state championship, every time it rolls around, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, soccer, they're always playing for a state championship.
Yeah, but South Carolina fans, they wouldn't be happy with a high school AD. They need to pull an AD away from a power program, like Gamecock fans think they'll do with the Georgia Tech baseball coach.
Yeah.
Well, he signed his extension. He ain't going nowhere.
Imagine that. Tom, thanks for the call.
Thanks, buddy.
Golly, you just get Tom going on something and it just goes and goes and goes.
Did you ever see the movie Necessary Roughness, the football
I
movie?
did, yeah.
You know, at halftime of the big game, Coach Gennaro is out, so the assistant coach has to fill in. So he feels the need to put on a suit and a button-down shirt and a tie. Gets to halftime, and he says, none of this is working. And he's ripping his tie off, and he's taking his jacket off, and he's slamming it on the floor, and he's getting all animated. That's Tom in Somerville.
150 million degrees is what he said is expected to be.
It's y'all's fault for building a stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. It's hot as hell there.
150 million. How about that? Cocky for a reason. Up next, Cocky, the question is in this segment, and other Tolos, if you just tuned in, would you trade 3 women's basketball national championships for 1 in football? You say?
I would trade all of our equestrian. I'd trade all of our zippity-doo-dah for a football.
Everything.
Trade it all in.
Baseball, too.
Everything.
Just everything.
How long?
No, not the baseball. We're gonna hang on to baseball.
So you wouldn't trade the 3 women's national championships and the 2 in baseball?
I trade the 3 women, and I love the ladies. Hey, I'm all about supporting the ladies, but I would trade those out for the football.
He's all about supporting the ladies until it comes to football titles.
The heck with them.
That's because they're gonna win. They're gonna win 3 more in the next 4 or 5 years.
He does bring up a good point, and I'm glad you beat me to it, Cocky, for a reason. Because if you gave up the 3 to get 1, you still have Dawn Staley on staff. She can go out there and win you a couple more.
A couple. I'm talking about 3 or 4. What you talking about?
Why not the baseball, though? Because one texter gets in on the Joy Law from text line from the 325 and says, I'll take it a step further. I would trade all 3 women's basketball championships and both baseball championships for 1 football national championship. So what's holding you back from the baseball?
Bragging rights over Clemson, baby.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious? Imagine how many bragging rights
That's
you have.
really small.
God.
For a reason.
That's all I no. That's all I hear. Oh, well, we've got 3 national titles. Oh, well, we got 2. In the baseball. So it goes both ways.
So what?
It goes.
So what? So you're saying football title or baseball titles are worth more to you than football titles are?
That's all we got.
That's all we got. I like the honesty. I like the honesty,
Thanks,
Cocky.
Cocky.
Appreciate you. 844-326-3663. Again, if you just tuned into the show, Lauren Beasley put out this tweet over the weekend. It got 1 million plus views and interactions on Twitter, on X. If you're a Gamecock fan, would you trade the 3 women's national titles for 1 in football? Diesel, I think everybody's on the same page for multiple reasons, but Tom, even though he's crazy, a lot of truth what he said there. What a football national championship does, even if it's short-lived, even if you win 1 and you're done, it still does so much because of how much we put behind the sport of football.
Yeah, I mean, it puts you into a completely different category. A football national title is worth triple what any other national title in any other sport is worth.
It is.
And I'm not saying that from a financial standpoint. I'm just talking about from the vibes and the aura that you get off of it.
Yeah.
Like you can go to somebody and say, hey, I'm a South Carolina baseball fan. We got 2 national titles.
Okay.
And unless they're a South Carolina fan, they say, so what?
Yeah.
But you go and say, we have a national championship in football in the last 5 years, 10 years. People are like, oh man, I remember that. I was watching those games.
Yeah.
That team was so good. This player, that player. Yeah.
Numbers thing. You go to airports or wherever and you talk about college football. You don't talk about college baseball, right? Not with the average sports fan. T-Experience on the phone lines. He's next up. What do you say, T-Experience? How are you?
What's up, guys? What's up? Today's episode of Tolo Takeover and Overreaction Wednesday. Yeah, I just changed the whole program.
I love it.
Sorry.
I
But
love
anyway,
it. It's okay.
my Gators are going to go 9-3 this year. So,
9-3.
With John Summerall at the helm, I believe you. John Summerall, I like that guy a lot.
Yeah, I did too. What did you predict for him last year?
Oh, you got to bring up the past.
No. I just forgot. I genuinely forgot. I don't remember what you were you close? Do you remember if you were close or not?
I had them at 9. I had them at 9-2 last year, but then I had called back in and told you guys
I do remember that.
Pick to
Yeah.
You can't change picks around here.
75, and that
All right,
still didn't
let me
work out,
ask you
but-
this. I've got the schedule pulled up. Do you know who the 3 losses are? You being a Florida Gator fan, who are the 3 losses?
Texas, Georgia, and who was the other?
Let me read it off to you.
Georgia.
You got Florida Atlantic, Campbell, at Auburn.
Yeah, we're gonna be 5-0.
Oh, wow.
5-0, then
Ole
we're
Miss and
gonna
Mizzou, you're 5-0?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 5-0, then you host Carolina.
Who? Nobody.
So
Next.
6-0. So you're telling me Florida starts out 6-0 this year?
Yeah.
Wow.
T-Experience said South Carolina's so down bad, they're talking about traded national titles over here.
Yeah. Okay, then you go
Exactly.
to Texas T-Experience. You got that a loss, right?
Yep.
So you're 6-1. Georgia and Atlanta.
Lost.
So you're 6-2. Oklahoma at home,
That's a win.
7-2. At Kentucky,
Oh, definitely a win.
8-2. Host Vandy,
Win.
9-2.
And Florida State.
At Florida State.
Okay. I had a third loss in there. I can't remember what it.
You going to
Well-
win or loss with Florida State? T-Experience.
Yeah, we'll just give that loss to Florida State.
Yeah, that's a blowout. But
So you got them going. You got them 10-2.
it was the Missouri game. Because I'm iffy on.
You worry about Missouri
Yeah.
more than you do Ole Miss.
They're tricky. They're always tricky every year.
Yeah, but this is Ole Miss with a new coach. We don't know who this Ole Miss is going to be.
No, Missouri. I'm not
Right.
worried about Ole Miss.
Oh, wow. Forget it. Forget
Wow,
Ole
I'm
Miss.
not worried about 'em.
Yeah, forget them. I like it, though. I mean, you never know. 10-2. Boy, you're talking about you found your new head coach. Yeah, I think so. Or even 9-3. That's still good.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Thanks
Mark
for the
it
call,
down.
man.
Let's not let him forget it. And we're not going to let you change
No.
this T experience.
9-3.
Thanks, man. Good stuff.
Appreciate the phone call. Good stuff. Let me check the text line, make sure I didn't miss anything. I think most Gamecock fans are on the same page. Unfortunately, sorry, Dawn Staley, but Gamecock fans, we respect you, they said, but yeah, forget them 3 national championships, right?
When we come back, Cole, let's jump back into SEC spring meetings. Today was the last day of SEC spring meetings, and it was one of the more contentious, more dysfunctional settings that we've seen from the SEC in a number of years, Cole. What all's going down there on the coast, out in that beautiful palatial hotel that they're hanging out at, having their meetings, having their little group therapy sessions? We'll jump into that next. SEC spring meetings conclude today. Cole, they're probably over by now, unless they're still sitting in a room somewhere discussing an official reprimand of Lane Kiffin for saying disparaging things about Ole Miss.
No. They're in Destin. By 5:30, they're done. They're either at Beauchamp's or the Crab House or a couple of other really good spots down there.
Yeah.
You're talking about good seafood. I'll be in Destin in September. Destin's great, but it is a little bit on the bougie. You know what it is? It's a nice place.
I believe it is.
A little bit different than Dirty Myrtle, you know?
Yeah, I wonder which local cheerleading camp Lane Kiffin is at right now. Just scouting. Of course, scouting. Lane Kiffin, of course, Cole, we talked about it when he went after Ole Miss and said that parents of players told him that they would never let their kids go to Ole Miss, you know, because of the implication of their past. And now the league is supposedly discussing whether or not they're going to reprimand Lane Kiffin for those remarks. And Lane has come out and said, oh, no. You guys just didn't read the article closely enough. Oh. I said a parent said this. I didn't say it. A parent said it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I hadn't seen any of those reports. It's first I've heard of that.
Lane Kiffin is such a petulant child.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a Dewey phrase, by the way.
If I told Lane Kiffin that if he were still alive, Albert Einstein would call you a no good, cheating, low down coach that spends more time in the sorority house than in his office, I wouldn't be liable for it, because I can tell you that Albert Einstein would have said it if he was still alive.
Sure.
I mean, why are you hiding behind this plausible deniability lane of a parent said this, not me?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he didn't realize it would take off the way it did.
Really?
It did.
You don't think so? You don't think people are sensitive about that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, I'm right. I mean, you're right. It's Lane, though. It's Lane.
Yeah. I mean, now, what does a public reprimand actually mean? An official warning from the conference office.
Oh, yeah.
He could be fined, but come on, it's LSU and they're paying him buku dollars. They're going to find the money to pay the fine for him. He may get an official statement from the commissioner of the SEC condemning his comments, but there's no major punishment for this. So a public reprimand is just a media slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ludicrous. But the SEC spring meetings, Cole, have not gone the way I think that Greg Sankey would like them to have gone. They have not nearly been as harmonious as he would like them to be. There are reports coming out today and over the last 24 hours, Cole, that there are a lot of coaches that felt lied to when it came to expanding the conference slate to 9 football games. John Summerall came out and talked about this. He said that coaches felt lied to, that they were essentially duped, tricked into going to a 9 conference game slate so that they could expand, and they were told that they would expand the college football playoff to 16 teams. But obviously, we talked about this yesterday. Greg Sankey said, no, we're not interested in expanding the playoff past 12.
Maybe I just haven't read enough. How are you tricked? How do you not know? Like, I'm confused. What are you confused?
It's a quid pro quo. Like, we want something, the league wants something from you, which is we want you to agree to play a 9th conference game.
Yeah.
And what we'll give to you in return is that we will advocate for expanding the college football playoff to 16 teams.
Yeah, but that's a bad deal. You made the bad deal. The coaches did.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong here.
I mean, come on. You got to make a better deal than
to have been promised something and to agree to something under false pretenses. I understand why you'd be upset.
It'd be like our boss telling us, "Hey, we'll give you an extra day of vacation, and then we'll try to get." Let me rephrase that. I said that wrong. It'd be like our boss telling you, "Hey, we need you to work this holiday, and we're going to try to see if we can make it up to you later in the year with extra vacation."
Yeah.
Well, it'd be nice to try. Hopefully it works out. But for the coaches, I'm just, I'm a little surprised by it.
Yeah. I understand though why, because SEC coaches, and how many times have we heard this from fans and from listeners that are Gamecock fans and Georgia fans, that the SEC slate is already hard enough.
Yeah.
That you don't need a 9th conference game because it's already hard enough. And it's already so good that even with 8 conference games, your resume will be strong enough to put you head and shoulders above other conferences. So they agreed to this 9th conference game that would potentially open up a larger playoff field and more spots for the SEC in said playoff field. And now their leader, their commissioner, Greg Sankey, is actively pushing back against it.
Well, here's the deal with Greg Sankey. You said a minute ago, Greg might not have expected it to go this way in terms of spring meetings, right? Sure. Spring meetings or that. They're spring meetings. I think a lot of it has to do with not as much implementation, but also as a commissioner, Diesel, you're gauging, what you feel like you need to do as a commissioner. And you might feel like you need the input from coaches at these spring meetings. I don't know. I don't know that I live in a world where I believe that these spring meetings actually make a difference now, because I know they might talk about other things other than just like rule changes and I get all that. But I'm just of the belief, and maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am, that the coaches really don't have a say. And we talked about it yesterday a little bit. I don't know if the coaches have a say in a lot of this stuff.
Nor should they, really.
Yeah.
I mean, their job is to coach, not to put together the right schedule, the right playoff size. I get it. But, going back to our discussion yesterday about Greg Sankey and whether or not, the cracks in the dam are forming, if you've now got a coach going into an athletic director's office saying that SOB Sankey over there lied to us and told us that he would give us X, Y, and Z if we agreed to A, B, and C, and he pulled the rug out from under us. Now you've got a coach who is usually the highest paid state employee in whatever state they're in, talking to an athletic director who then elects Greg Sankey as their commissioner. Remember, Greg Sankey works at the pleasure of the athletic directors of the SEC. So now if you've got coaches and ADs mad at him, all the other things about all the money that he's raised and the profile that he's raised for the conference, all of that is a factor as well. But still, those are those things that kind of maybe loosen the iron grip of a guy like Greg Sankey and the amount of influence that he has, not just nationally, but inside of his own conference. And,
it's felt like, to that point, it's felt like Diesel for a while now. Greg's kind of, I don't want to say had like the NCAA by the balls, but in a lot of ways it has, for the past 2 or 3 years that you and I have been doing this show, it's felt like for a few years, Greg Sankey's been not the commissioner of the NCAA, but his voice, to your point, carries a lot of weight, and what he says matters. And I'll tell you this, I never liked that. I never liked that one conference commissioner was so powerful and dictated, conference expansion, and will the ACC follow suit now that the SEC did it? And let's ask Greg Sankey what he thinks on playoff expansion. So I think that what you're talking about there, us getting away from that, I love it. I mean, I think it's a good thing for the sport. I don't want Greg Sankey in charge. I'm not saying he's not a good commissioner.
For sure. Cole, another thing that came out of this, and we reported on this earlier today, that the cupcake week before rivalry weekend is going to die. So no more. I don't know if that means that they will then choose to move the Cupcake SoCon showdown games, when South Carolina plays Wofford, no disrespect to Wofford, or when South Carolina plays, Mercer on the week before they play Clemson. I don't know if that means they're going to move that to the first couple weeks of the season, or if that means they're going to cancel those series altogether. Because remember, it's not a law in South Carolina that you got to play an in-state FCS. It's just a gentleman's agreement. It's the way things have always been done, but that's going away. I'm sure South Carolina fans are really upset about that, because they don't want to have to play a tough conference opponent before they got to play Clemson.
Yeah, and I think the question you ask there, if you're a fan or if you're a coach, Diesel, is would you rather play the cupcake, and now it's not up to you because, like you just said, there's no choice. It's being axed. I see the value in playing it before the rivalry. I don't like it as a fan, but I see the value in it. But I also see the value in playing the cupcake out of the gate. And, Clemson fans would argue the past few years, maybe they wish they could have played a cupcake out of the gate instead of Georgia and then LSU last year, right? And being able to kind of gauge where you are. And I know that doesn't matter in terms of dictating the outcome for the next week, but and I hate calling them a cupcake, but it is what it is. Where the cupcake goes, I think I don't want to put too much stock in it, but I do think it matters. I do think you talk about bye weeks. Bye weeks, obviously, where they're positioned matter, being able to take a week off and have preparation, any level, Diesel, high school, college, and pro, but even more so with the Cupcakes, it's that. It's a bye week.
I do fear, Cole, that the long-standing agreement that South Carolina and Clemson will play an in-state FCS school, I do fear that is in really grave jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Now, both of these conferences are now playing 9 conference games. It means you only got 3 non-conference to schedule. You take away 1 for the Clemson and South Carolina game, so now you've got 2. And then if you're saying you have to play an in-state FCS, you got to play Citadel, you got to play Furman, you got to play Wofford. Now you got 1 slot really to schedule who you want to schedule, and I could see them saying, you know what? We've had a nice run. It's been great, guys. We played you every year for the past, 90, but we can't do this anymore. We have to maintain the flexibility of 2 games that we get to schedule.
I get that, and I understand maybe it has run its course. Maybe you'll see change, but my whole thing with the Cupcakes is, why does it matter who you play? Why does it matter if it's a team from South Carolina or a team from Florida, Townsend, Florida Atlantic? I hate to say it, but the outcome's the same, isn't it? So why does it matter?
In theory.
So I get it. I do understand that you do, and I've been a big proponent of that as well. I want a little bit of flexibility in anything that we do in the sport, but you're right. If you do have the South Carolina and Clemson game already there and then 1 in-state, you've got 1 game you get to pick, and that's it. So I understand it, and then that kind of ties back into the conversation last week when you were out. I talked about South Carolina and North Carolina canceling their home and home.
I hate this.
Yeah, just happened.
Yeah.
And I think that all ties in together. And, when it comes to scheduling, it's 9 conference games. I know why they did it. I'm just not a big fan.
And doesn't the ACC, didn't they include a mandate that says you have to schedule at least 1 Power 4 team out of conference?
I think I saw that.
Like some of those will be satisfied
Sounds
by
right.
like Clemson playing South Carolina, but for other schools, they don't have an out-of-state or an out-of-conference in-state Power 4 team that they could easily slot in. Cole, I love this. This is a piece of audio that made me laugh. John Summerall, the new head football coach at Florida, was asked a really kind of a pointed question about not coaching Tulane in the postseason and the decision around doing so. And he claims that he was not taking a shot at anyone in particular with his response here. Here's John.
In hindsight, should you have stepped aside at Tulane, or do you think you made the best decision?
I would have stayed at Tulane and not taken any other job. I was not going to leave a team playing for a championship to go coach another team.
Lane did.
That's not in my DNA. I ain't built like that. Couldn't do it.
Lane is.
I just couldn't. I'm not. That's not a shot at anybody. It honestly is not. So if Florida or any other school that wanted to offer me their head coaching job was going to tell me the terms they needed it to be on, the answer for me was, I can't take the job. Sorry. I just can't do it.
Love this guy.
Because those kids had given me just too much. And it just was, I don't know, it wouldn't have been fair. Now, I went into my team meeting at Tulane when I let them know I was leaving. And I said, hey, do y'all want me to coach in the game or no? Like, hell yeah, you're our coach. So I was like, all right, I'll coach. But if they told me no, I would have gotten out. But they all were like, yeah, we didn't come this far individually. Like, let's finish this thing.
It's not a shot at anybody, Cole.
I actually understand where he's coming from. Yeah. I don't think it was an intentional shot. It comes across as a shot, but I don't think it was an intentional shot. He's talking about how he's wired as a human being. And guess what? If you're expressing how you're wired and what your philosophies are, and it comes across as if you're taking a shot at somebody, then so be it. Unintentional shots happen all the time. But guess what? When you do you and you're proud of how you operate and your standards and what you do, it's going to – a lot of things in life will come across as shots. But I like it. Like you said, I like him. I think it's a good sneaky hire that a lot of people were critical of at first, but I'm all for it.
Big fan of it. And Cole, we'll push this maybe until tomorrow and bring this up in a bigger way. Not SEC related, but the way Texas Tech has tried to circle the wagon around Brandon Sorsby, who was denied reinstatement by the NCAA. They're essentially taking the stance of it's a disease And we, meaning all of us, should support him, and support him means allowing him to play. We'll get into that a little bit later, a little bit more tomorrow, Cole. Let's see if we're buying what Texas Tech is selling.
I like it. Audio from the new Prez. One in-state institution has a new president. What he sounds like, what his vision is, philosophy, who is it? We'll get into it next. Well, Clemson got a new president today, Diesel, and we got some audio from him. He is coming from Michigan State, from a Spartan to a Tiger. And here's some audio of what it sounded like. Chapel Fowler had this earlier. He is wearing an orange tie, so it didn't take long for him to change out of that hideous green and white, right, into some Clemson orange. Here is what he had to say earlier today. He had a lot to say, but this is a small snippet of what he had to say.
Let me just say this. I very much appreciated the board wanting to continuing to support me in this way. There had been conversations for several months about, the possibility of an extension and a salary increase. I want to be clear. I never asked that, requested it. I know that there were conversations being had by the leadership of the board. And yes, I know that meeting was a two-part meeting, and I think you saw some of what came from it around disagreements around code of ethics and what the role of the board should be with respect to relitigating some of the issues of the past. And I set that all aside and continued to have conversations with Clemson. It's a place that my wife and I have come to really appreciate what's happening there. And it was more about, an opportunity to go to another great institution that I think will benefit from the type of leadership that I can bring.
The new president, Kevin, Guskiewicz, Diesel, I would imagine it's Kevin Guskiewicz.
Guskiewicz,
Is that right?
Yep.
Guskiewicz coming from Michigan State. Listen, I'm always fascinated when it's an in-state school, especially as big as Clemson is when it comes to a new president. You may not think a president coming in, an incoming president, has a lot of influence on what could happen with sports, but obviously with this being a sports show, I think that's the number one question we ask is what's his philosophy behind athletics, right?
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see maybe a little locking of the horns between he and Eric Bakich. Like, I know that they're both at Clemson now, and there's that old saying, like, never graduate. There's got to be a part of them that for Coach Bakich still loves Michigan, and for Gus still loves Michigan State. I wonder if they're going to throw any jabs at each other in the hallways.
That's a good question.
Around the water
Good
cooler.
question.
Plus, Cole, I could see this sort of opening up a better relationship with the Greenville Drive in that stadium, because the owner of the Drive is also a Michigan State alum.
Right.
So now you've got a Michigan State alum there and a former Michigan State employee now as the president of Clemson.
It'll be interesting to see. Again, Guskiewicz coming in from Michigan State, and what kind of – look, I know like Twitter fan reaction isn't what you base things off of, but seeing all the Michigan State fans livid about it, I guess is a good sign. Again, you don't base everything off of that.
You don't. It's better than having them be,
excited about.
Thank God he's gone.
That's what I'm saying. So I guess it could be worse there, but a new press for the Clemson Tigers. We'll see what it looks like in the future, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot more audio in the coming days when it comes to Kevin. Kevin.
I call him Gus, but still.
I'm already getting his name wrong. He does need a good nickname, though.
Yeah. When we come back, Cole, let's jump back into something we talked about earlier in the show. There is a reality that is coming down the tracks when it comes to one Atlanta Braves contract. It's going to cost the Braves a ton of money if they want to keep him, unless they switch the tracks and veer another direction. We'll talk about that next.
Make sure